What's happening, guys? Welcome to another boxing breakdown and prediction show for this weekend Super Flyweight clash San Antonio between one of the most exciting up-and-coming fighters on the planet right now and Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez as he takes on former 115-pound champ Srisaket Rungvisai this weekend live over on the Zone. So let's get into it now. Jesse Rodriguez, this one is the fairly steep minus 500 favorite, and that line's a test of how good this kid actually is. He's only 15-0 over his career so far. Fought as low as pin weight as an amateur. He's absolutely carved his way through the various weight divisions as a pro. Only fought at this weight twice previous to this fight as well. And, it's against one of the scariest guys in the division right now in Srisaket Rungvisai, who's an absolute steam train of a fighter. He absolutely blew past one of my favorite fighters of all time in Chocolatito Gonzalez a few years ago. Rungvisai has 43 knockouts in his 50-fight win career, so he's definitely not a guy to be played with in there, even at this stage of his career. So, Bam Rodriguez needs to be careful on Saturday night that he doesn't get too reckless in there against, as we said, one of the most dangerous men in the entire division. Rungvisai has been reasonably inactive, it must be said, over recent years. Since his loss to Juan Francisco Estrada in that rematch 3 years ago. Rungvisai has only fought 3 times since then, and never outside of his native Thailand either. So, this will be a big return to form for him here on Saturday. I don't expect it to phase him, obviously. He's been on this kind of stage many times before, but, nonetheless, those performances were a few years ago now. And, that inactivity, especially against the lack of quality opposition as well, may start to creep up on him here. Jesse Rodriguez, on the other hand, has been extremely active. He's fought 7 times over that same stretch as Rungvisai since 2019, and against some quality opposition as well. He absolutely jumped at the chance to step in at short notice against former champ Carlos Cuadras earlier this year in, what was originally slated to be a rematch between Rungvisai and Cuadras from their original 2014 fight. And, Bam looked fantastic in that fight. Cuadras provided a ton of problems for him in that one, as expected. But, it was nevertheless hard not to be impressed by the way Rodriguez, overcame those issues in that fight and went on to win that fight quite convincingly as well. Cuadras is a quality operator in there. We know that. He's beaten Rungvisai in the past. He gave Roman Gonzalez a ton of problems as well. He had an absolute war against Juan Francisco Estrada at the back end of 2020 as well. Great fight in that one. He put Estrada down early in that one. So, for Rodriguez to effectively fight outside of his natural weight class and take a challenge like Cuadras on in only his second fight at the weight shows how dangerous this guy is. And, even the fact of him facing Cuadras and Rungvisai in back-to-back fights, shows he's not messing around at this weight and that he wants, all the smoke in the division. Cuadras can be an explosive fighter in bursts. He's definitely not a slow fighter by any stretch. He caught Estrada, as we said, with that beautiful combo to put him down in his fight before last. But even so, that switch around from Bam against him in the 3rd round of their fight back in February, where Rodriguez, stepped around Cuadras' guard and hit him with a clean uppercut to put him down, showed the difference in speed and footwork between Rodriguez and Cuadras. And if that difference in speed and footwork, was noticeable in that fight, it'll be doubly so here against Rungvisai. Rungvisai is an absolute monster in there, no question. He hits with a ton of force, is a naturally bigger and heavier handed guy at this weight than Rodriguez too, frame-wise, not in terms of height and reach, but just that upper body strength. And, Chocolatito, who's one of the greatest pressure fighters of all time, found that out the hard way, simply couldn't hang with Rungvisai in there. Took an absolute ton of damage in that first fight against him, even more in the second fight, obviously, with that 4th round stoppage. And, even against Estrada in their second fight, Estrada, a guy who likes to hang around the pocket and bang as well, even he was forced to, back up, look to survive in spots against Rungvisai over the back half of their fight. So, you certainly don't want to be playing Billy Big Bulls in there against a guy who hits as hard as Rungvisai does. He will break you down in there if you linger around the pocket. But, if Rodriguez can use his obvious advantages in this one, speed, time, and footwork, then I believe he can win this one fairly comfortably on Saturday. You know, Rungvisai hasn't been stopped in well over a decade. You know, he only got stopped in his first couple of fights, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. You know, he is one of the hardest hitters, as we said, in the division. He can take a ton of punishment on the other end as well. So I think it'll be Rodriguez's toughest fight to date this weekend, even over Cuadras. But, you know, despite that, if Rodriguez does box to his strengths here, you know, uses that speed advantage of his to get in and out of range against Rungvisai, you know, doesn't look to linger around the pocket against him either, then, you know, I think this is his fight to lose on Saturday. So I'm going to back Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez this weekend to win a decision at odds of -150 against Srisaket Rungvisai this weekend. So that's going to do it for me. That'll wrap things up for this episode. As always, leave us your thoughts in the comments section below. And you can also catch me over on Twitter at the SportsWolf83 and at my handicapper page, Kevin Dolan, over at WagerTalk. As always, thanks for listening. Until next time, Slán